What is up, everyone? Phil here. Welcome to DSPReacts and welcome to my review of the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 live-action movie. For full disclosure, I know this is going to be a weird one. You want to know why? Because I've never seen the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie. This was actually the first one that I saw. Admittedly, I thought I'd probably like this one more only because it kind of skips the backstory of, how Sonic came to Earth, but instead just kind of goes into an interesting plot about Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, and of course the return of Dr. Eggman. I was shocked. I thought he'd be called Dr. Robotnik, but no, they're going with Eggman in the movie series, right? As played by Jim Carrey. So I didn't have the prerequisite knowledge to understand all the stuff from the first movie. I think the movie does at least a half decent job of kind of at least glossing over it. You know, the past. I guess there's an owl named Longclaw that had either raised or been some kind of a motherly figure to Sonic. Had given Sonic his powers, right? I'm trying to, basically watching part 2, you try to understand these things. So in this movie, you find out that this character, Longclaw, was actually the ancient rival of Knuckles and the Echidna race. And that Knuckles was the last remaining Echidna. I guess the rest had all been killed or died off. And he was searching power, the Emerald of Power, the Ultimate Master Emerald, which apparently was hidden somewhere on Earth. And he felt that Sonic the Hedgehog was actually the key to getting it. So, yes, there's going to be some spoilers. I have to go through the plot to let you know what I thought about the movie. The movie opens up with Eggman trapped on a mushroom planet. I have no idea how he got there, but I don't really care. Obviously, it had something to do with the plot of the first movie. Probably he ended up getting stranded at the end or whatever when Sonic thwarted him. And then when he has a quill from Sonic that apparently has Sonic's supersonic powers in it, he's doing experiments on it to try to, power stuff. And as he's doing this, it sends out like a big explosion signal. Well, Knuckles is looking for this power source, thinking this will lead him to the Master Emerald, and comes through a portal, ends up basically talking to Dr. Eggman, and Eggman leads him to Earth, saying that's where Sonic is. If that's what you're looking for, that's where you need to go. So the first kind of half of the movie, the premise is that Knuckles and Dr. Eggman are teaming up in order to try to find Sonic and have Sonic somehow lead them to this Emerald, or at least get information from Sonic on how to get the Emerald. At the same time, Sonic is living with a bunch of humans. These two humans, I guess, from the first movie, a man and a woman, the married couple. And I guess at this point they're used to him kind of being an alien or someone from another dimension, and they're leaving the house to him and a dog while they go to a wedding in Hawaii. What's funny is that Sonic apparently in this franchise has teleportation abilities. I don't remember him ever having that in the games, and so he can use his magic rings to teleport them to Hawaii for their wedding. It's not their wedding, it's actually the wedding of the wife's sister, okay? While he basically looks after the house. So they're going to Hawaii. They're hoping for the best, that Sonic won't destroy everything, or he'll take care of it at least. But of course what happens is that Sonic is trying to have a good time solo with the dog. Robotnik busts in, and now you've got a big series of interactions where it's basically like Robotnik and Knuckles coming after Sonic. Sonic has no idea who Knuckles is or how Robotnik got back. And then, while Sonic is on the run from these two, another interdimensional being named Tails shows up. Of course, everyone knows Tails from the Sonic games, a two-tailed fox who says, I've actually always been following you. You're kind of a hero to me. I always watched you from another dimension. And then this was an opportunity I saw when, you needed help, that I would come and help you or whatever. It was kind of weird in that regard, how Tails was kind of written in. Like, where was Tails for the whole first movie? I don't know. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, I guess in the first movie they were saying there was an explosion, and the explosion triggered Tails to monitor the planet. But why he chose this particular reason to help Sonic, I don't know if it was very clear. Anyway, the movie is a wild ride. Basically, they're going all over the world, okay? They end up in, I think, like Siberia, trying to find a compass or something that's going to lead them to the Master Emerald. They find this temple underground, or underwater, I should say, that the Master Emerald is hidden in. Once the Master Emerald is found, Knuckles thinks he's going to get it, but instead Robotnik steals it. Eggman. I'm going to have a lot of problems calling him Eggman. And Robotnik then, having this emerald, betrays, Knuckles, and says, no, it's all for me, which of course we knew was going to happen anyway. That's the kind of guy Robotnik is. And essentially now becomes a super-powered mech robot. That is very reminiscent of the boss of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, I want to say. I don't remember what it's called, Death Egg or Death Carrier or something like that. But it's ginormous. And now Sonic basically has to fight this thing, and he's trying, and he's failing. His human friends show up to save him in the nick of time by driving a pickup truck. Don't Was it a pickup truck or was it SUV? But anyway, it was pretty ridiculous. And then at the end of it, essentially, Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails team up to take down, Eggman. And eventually, they get the Master Emerald, and Sonic turns into Super Sonic so that he can fight Eggman. They defeat him, and that's really the end of the movie. Now, here's the thing. There's a ton of stuff that happens in between that, honestly, I could say is filler. Like, literally what I just told you is a very accurate plot synopsis. At the end of the day, Eggman's defeated, and they all go off to live with the family. Like, Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, all go to live with the man and the woman and happily ever after. They're actually playing baseball at the end of the movie. So, it's weird because there was a lot else to the movie that I feel was filler. All right? Like, total filler. Like, for example, this movie suffers from what I call Transformers syndrome. If you don't know what I mean, go back and watch the very original Michael Bay Transformers movie. And what you will find is that essentially, every film with the humans is time-consuming, has character development, and literally has nothing to do with the Transformers. Like, it feels like you're watching two movies, the story of the Transformers and the story of these humans that are interjecting themselves into the story just because it takes place on Earth. You could very well ignore all these humans and just have the Transformers interacting. The movie would probably be better. I honestly feel like this is kind of the case with the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie. Like, the humans felt like extras. They felt like they had side plots. For example, at one point, Sonic goes to Hawaii because he needs the help of the humans, but ends up ruining the wedding of, the wife's sister. Come to find out, the whole thing was a setup. It was the government actually trying to figure out if Sonic would show up because the husband and wife that are befriending Sonic were there at the wedding, and I guess they were trying to find some way to get them to reveal Sonic. It didn't really make much sense, and I guess it tied in with the plot of the first movie where I guess Sonic was an extraterrestrial. They were trying to catch him or something, kind of like E.T. when you think about it. But it was weird. It was an odd plot, and then the sister, there was a whole segment where the wife and the sister are doing Metal Gear Solid, like sneaking around the government to try to like free Sonic who's been captured. It was really weird. I was like, what does this have to really do with anything? It does, it's completely added in. The movie's 2 hours long. Honestly, I feel like the movie would be better at hour 9 or hour 30. Like 30 minutes, you could have cut all the human stuff out and it wouldn't have mattered. At the same time, a lot of people might have had issue with that because apparently the humans were actually part of the main cast of the first movie. In this movie, they don't feel important whatsoever. Like I said, they're almost gone for the whole movie. Then they show up at the end to save Sonic by driving up in like an SUV or a pickup truck. It's like, what? Where'd they come from? Where is this? Like, this is ridiculous, right? There's another scene where they're in Siberia and Sonic and Tails have a dance-off against a bunch of Siberians. There's no purpose to the scene. It just exists in the movie. They wanted to pad the movie. It's an extra scene. Okay? There's a lot of stuff like that in the movie. And I'm going to be critical of it. Like, I don't know why it's in there. It definitely feels like a bloated movie. However, there's a few things in the movie I really like. For example, I usually have a lot of issue, excuse me, when I'm watching a live-action movie and it uses CGI. I feel like modern CGI is just not that good. And a lot of the times things look fake. Well, in this movie, I think Sonic, Knuckles, Tails look as good as they possibly could be as representations of their video game characters in a real-world setting. I'm okay with the CGI in this movie, and that's a rarity for me. Like, usually I have a lot of issues when it comes to the CGI in these kind of movies, but I actually had zero issue with it the entire time. I didn't have a problem believing they were part of the world. Quite frankly, I think it worked really well. Some of the action scenes, like their snowboarding and stuff, like, that looks like the game. And it was neat that it did actually look like the game because they used CGI. Can you imagine them trying to use like models and stuff to do this, stop action or something? Oh my God, it probably would have looked horrible. Kind of like how Sonic originally was supposed to look for the first movie, till they changed it, right? Jim Carrey does a great job as Eggman, although admittedly, I do think that they have him ham it up a lot because it's a family film. I think it's rated PG. So of course he's doing things like, "See you later, hater." Like, what? Like, that's such a cheesy catch line. Robotnik didn't have catch lines in the games, and the fact that they had to give him like a cheesy catch line is pretty ridiculous, but I do like his acting in this. He's kind of back to form as the old cartoony Jim Carrey like he used to be back in the old days, and it fits the Robotnik character. It really does. Although, admittedly, if you like a more serious Eggman or Robotnik, you probably won't like this one. He's a funny guy. What I will say is this. Did this movie absolutely blow me away? No, it did not. But I was entertained. There were several times that I thought maybe this is going to be a cringe fest. I legitimately was smiling ear to ear, quite a few times with the stuff going on in the movie. Some of the puns, some of the jokes, some of the action sequences were exciting. I liked it. And that's interesting. What I would call this is the perfect popcorn movie. You just sit down, you sit back with some snacks, with a drink, and you're here to relax. You don't care about being challenged intellectually. You're not looking for highbrow stuff. You just want to have a good popcorn experience and walk out of there after watching it saying, wow, that was fun. And that's exactly the best way I could describe this movie. It was pretty darn fun. And I like it for that. Like, I think there should be more movies that, like, for example, the Marvel movies, right? A lot of the times now, they're so over the top with humor, or then they try to wedge in serious overtones. And it's like, whatever happened to popcorn movies, where we just went there to have a good time and we could walk out and say, that was a quick, good one, right? Like, I feel like that's what this movie is, and it probably would have been better to cut some of the human stuff and reduce the running time. But for the most part, that's almost all the criticism I have. The one startling criticism that I do have, and this is a nitpick for sure, there's no Sonic the Hedgehog music in the movie at all. I think someone's ringtone is the Sonic theme or something like that. Like, that's it. There is no Sonic music. I was like, huh? How can you tell me that you've turned Sonic the Hedgehog, an iconic 1990s cartoon character, into a movie, a live-action movie, and you didn't use any of the iconic music from the games in this movie at all? I don't know if they used any in the first movie, but it was all licensed music, and that really, I didn't like the licensed music. I would have loved if it was remixes, even modern remixes that sounds like kind of modern music. If it was Sonic music, I would have loved that. You know, why couldn't they have a follow me, escape from the city scene, running through the scene, being chased by Robotnik when, he's trying to catch him? That would be amazing. They didn't have anything like that. I was like, what a missed opportunity. But outside of that nitpick, I like Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I would give it 2 thumbs up as an action popcorn movie. It's not serious. It's got some issues. It's not perfect, but it's very fun. I recommend that you check it out. Thanks for watching my review of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon for another movie review. Thank you so much. See you then.